the First Unitarian Church of Salt Lake City offered sanctuary to Vicky Chavez and her two daughters. Vicky, who had journeyed to the United States to escape violence in Honduras, was denied asylum. Rather than return to the violence, she chose to accept sanctuary offered by the First Unitarian Church. For 3 years, she and her children lived at the church. During this time, the First Unitarian Church Sanctuary Steering Committee took on the enormous task of tirelessly providing for their physical needs, and also provided love, comfort, hope, courage, friendship, and sociality. Through this act of providing sanctuary, the Sanctuary Steering Committee did much more than sustain these three fellow beings. They have made a loud and clear statement about peace, inclusion, and the worst of all. Through their example, they challenge every one of us to rise up and act when we see injustice, when we see oppression, and when we see someone in need. Reverend Monica Dobbins has written, "My prayer is that the witness, the faith, the struggle, and the love that was cultivated over these past 3 years may spiral out into the universe for many years to come, sending waves of creative energy that contribute to the transformation of our immigration system to one that makes justice, freedom truly possible. My prayer is that every person who migrates to the United States for whatever reason finds this faith and fulfillment in their journey." In solidarity with this vision that has been so beautifully held up for us, the Gandhi Alliance of Peace is honored to give the 2021 Gandhi Award for Peace to the First Unitarian Church Sanctuary Steering Committee. Now, John Gregory will accept the award on the behalf of the First Unitarian Church Sanctuary Steering Committee. What am I forget?
Thank you so much, friends. I'm the Reverend Monica Dobbins, the Assistant Minister at First Unitarian Church. I feel so inadequate speaking to you today because I feel like my own part of this Herculean effort was so small. The real heroes are the hundreds of volunteers who planned parties, wrote letters to politicians, cared for the children, sat at the front door of our church building providing round-the-clock security, and endured countless hours of meetings going over all the many details of our sanctuary work. And of course, there are no greater heroes than the sanctuary leaders themselves, Vicky and her daughters, and all the women and men living in churches across the country asking simply to be free. Freedom is a buzzword these days, as many loudly argue that their freedoms are being taken away by this or that government policy, but you can't really appreciate the loss of personal freedom until you've lived inside a church for 39 months. Until you've watched your baby girl take her first steps inside that church. Until you've gazed out its windows for 3 winters. Unless you've laid awake at night wondering if you're really safe here or anywhere. Nothing has gotten better for asylum seekers and immigrants to our country in the past few years. As you can imagine, they've gotten worse. People are still trying to make their homes in this place that is so hostile to them. The tremendous love and affection shown to Vicky and her family while she lived with us, and the incredible grace that Vicky extended to us in return was a light in the gloom these past 3 years. It does make a difference what we do. every act of love, no matter how small, changes the world. Sometimes people will ask me what Unitarian Universalists believe. Ours is a faith without a creed. We don't ask people to agree on what we believe. But after witnessing the love we grew in Sanctuary with Vicki and her girls, I can say without reservation that Unitarian Universalists believe in love. And we believe that if we work together, we can find a way over. I especially want to thank our intrepid leader, Joan Gregory. I won't say fearless, because I know how much she worried over Vicki and the girls, but Joan always turned fear into action. There was always something else we could try, someone else we could call for help, and that kind of tenacity is rare in this world. So thank you, Joan. I also want to recognize the steering committee who put in so many hours planning, strategizing, celebrating our volunteers, and being present for Vicki and the girls, whatever they needed to feel comfortable and safe. Sarang, Lisa, Kelly, those who are not here with us today. I also want to thank our Minister Emeritus, the Reverend Tom Goldsmith, who could not be with us today. And finally, I want to thank Vicki, our hero, who inspired us with all her courage. You blessed us every day, and you'll always have a home at First Unitarian Church.
Well, I had written this big long speech, but I really don't think it applies anymore. It's just, it is just wonderful to be here and to be honored by the Gandhi Alliance for Peace, a group of people whom I have a great affinity with, and many people on the list of awardees for the Gandhi Alliance for Peace award are friends and have been or were in their lives friends of mine, from a very important mentor in my life, Peggy Christensen, who was a major influence in my life, to all the others, and the person who isn't on that list, the person who has led this organization, the Gandhi Alliance for Peace, for 23 years, is it, Deb? Deb Sawyer. Oh my gosh, Deb Sawyer. Thank you so much, Deb, for all you have given to our community. You know, we didn't know what we were getting into. Vicki didn't know, and we didn't know. In fact, we didn't even know Vicki at the time that she came into Sanctuary. But we all took steps of faith into this new world, and Vicki made it all possible with her gratitude and her love. We never felt more loved, more gratitude than being with Vicki. I want to thank our steering committee. This is something you cannot do alone, and each and every one of them put in so much love and so much time. 1,168 days. Let's see, 46,608 hours of service. That's just from our volunteers. And now I'd like to ask our volunteers, those who have volunteered as part of Sanctuary, I see you kind of, almost, in the audience. I want you to stand, please. Please stand if you volunteered. Thank you so much for your tireless work, your work of love, for guarding the door and playing with Bella. And Bella learned English at First Unitarian Church, and we were worried that she wasn't going to start to talk, and oh my gosh, she talks now, believe me, she talks now. And we have also been supported by some amazing organizations in our community, and I want to bring forward those names of Comunidades Unidas, the Enriching Utah Coalition, and La Red de Solidaridad, the Salt Lake Sanctuary Network, and Unidad Inmigrante, just to name a few of the organizations that worked with us. And with Vicki, Vicki is an amazing mother, and she has fought for her girls' freedom and her freedom all this time. She and the people living in sanctuary all over this country, they got prosecutorial discretion written into the Democratic platform in the summer of 2020, and they reached out to the presidential candidates, and they demanded that they grant that whoever became president, well, thank goodness we have the president we have, but whoever became president would grant stays of removal to those who were in sanctuary on their first day in office, and lift the deportation orders for people in sanctuary, and sign private bills into in Congress when those bills went to their desks, went to the president's desk. And some of those things have actually happened. Some of those things, but not all of those things. And we are still in this fight together. We, First Unitarian and Vicki and the people in sanctuary all over the country, and Vicki has been organizing with them in terms of the immigration bill, and adding sanctuary leaders specifically to that bill, and people who lived in sanctuary during the Trump administration. We've got to keep that alive, and that thought alive, that all people, all immigrants are welcome in this country, and especially asylum seekers. The work is still going on, and we continue to need help. And if you would like to stay apprised of how you can help with our efforts, you are welcome to join us by adding your name to our mailing list. And I know you all have cell phones, so if you would like to pull out your cell phone, you can add to your cell phone a phone number that you could put in there to ask to be added to that mailing list. And I'll give folks a chance to pull out their cell phones. I see a couple, and that number begins with 801. So 801-949-2906. 801-949-2906. And Vicki received a stay of removal on April 12th, 2021. I know you all know that. And it was for a year. That's how long she has of freedom right now. Anything that might be guaranteed. So that is why we need to keep working for her freedom, and keep working. What she needs most of all is citizenship and permanent resident status, a green card. That's what she needs. And that's what she's working on, and that's what we're working on. She also needs a work permit. When she got out of sanctuary, she immediately applied for a work permit. And those work permits are now taking 11 months. When she got out of sanctuary, they said it was going to be 4 to 6 months. And now those work permits are taking 11 months. Without a work permit, Vicki cannot work. Without work, there is no money coming in. With no money coming in, it is hard to pay rent and car payment and insurance and utilities and health care. And so that is another need that we have. And You can ask for a flyer at that same number too, 801-949-2906, and there are copies of the flyer up on the table in back at the kind of that end of the table. So please join us. We want to say thank you so much again for this award. It means so very much to all of us, every single one of the members of the steering committee, to Vicki, to Reverend Tom Goldsmith, who put 3 full solid years into making sure and made a huge difference. You know, that op-ed in the New York Times, we think, was the key to getting sanctuary leaders their stays of removal. And yes, thank you. Thank you for this amazing award. We cherish it.